And while he was praying, now we are entering the fifth mystery, the resurrection of Christ. And when he entered the garden, he prayed, and he left. He went to a secluded place and left the 11. And when he left the 11, he told them to keep watch. And when after he had prayed a while, he came back to the 11 and found them sleeping and asked them, "Wake up! Can you not watch with me a little while?" And then he went back to pray. And after he had prayed a little again, he came back and found them sleeping and told them, "Sleep now, because the body is willing, but the spirit is willing, but the body is weak." And then when he came, returned. And then when he came to that time, what happened? There was sound, the sound of metal against the shield, and there was some candlelight. And there was some marching sounds being heard. These were the soldiers of Rome. And when they came, who was leading them? It was Judas Iscariot. And he went close to the Lord and kissed him on the cheek. And Christ asked him, "Do you betray the Son of Man with a kiss?" And then that is when the soldiers went and tried to arrest Christ. And before he was arrested, what happened? The disciple Peter took a knife and cut off one of the ears of the soldiers. And I want you to see the mercy and the enduring love that Christ has for us. Despite these people coming to arrest him, he took the ear and healed him and rebuked Saint Peter and asked him, "Don't you know that I can summon angels to come and rescue us?" But he chose not to. And then after that, Christ was taken, and that is said that was the beginning of sorrows. And only Saint John remained with him among the 11 who were left after Judas had betrayed him. And then we remember early in the morning, what had Peter been told? He had been told that when he showed zeal that, "Oh Lord, I will be with you unto death," Christ told him that the rooster will not crow thrice before you have betrayed me. And as Christ was being beaten, while he had been taken to Ananias and Caiaphas, the priests, the Pharisees, while he was there, he endured much. He was even whipped. And as it is written in the Psalms, even his ribs were exposed. And only Saint John and Saint Mary were there when he went to the cross. So we see Christ was crucified. And once he was crucified, while he was on the cross, there were two thieves on either side. There was one on his right and the other on his left. The one was on his left tempted Christ and asked him, "If you are the Son of God, save yourself and save us also." And then the one who was on the right rebuked his fellow and said to him, we know the life that we have lived. We have been living a life of banditry, of killing. Yet this man has no offense." And said to Christ, "Lord, remember me when you enter your kingdom." And it is said that he was the first to enter heaven after Elijah and Enoch, who did not die, who went to heaven when they were still alive. So this is also a time for remembrance of repentance. And then later on we see that Christ gave up the ghost after he had said it is finished, and gave up the ghost at 3 p.m. And once he gave up the ghost, he went straight to Hades, to hell, and he descended to hell and took all the souls and took them to heaven. So, and then that was Saturday. It was the old Sabbath, the ancient Sabbath. And then on Sunday morning, the women, Mary Magdalene and Salome, went to the tomb to anoint his body with some spices. And when they reached his tomb, what did they find? They found the rock that was locking the door to the entrance of the tomb had been rolled away. And then what else did they see? When they approached, they were asked, they saw an angel in all his splendor, glowing in white, sparkling white. And the angel asked, Why do you search for the living among the dead? Jesus Christ has risen. Jesus Christ has risen. And then we saw. And then we saw. And then we saw. And then we saw that Christ was now being told to was in the midst. Now in the midst of the people. And when he came, later on, we see that he appeared to them. And among the people he appeared to was the disciples when they were inside the house, hiding from the Jews for fear of oppression and persecution. And then we see that Christ also appeared to the two disciples while they were going to from Jerusalem to Emmaus, and they were sad as saying, the one who was promised to us, the Messiah, has been killed, while they were approached by Christ himself and did not know that it was Christ. So we see Christ later on appeared, and when he had appeared initially to the disciples in the room, St. Thomas was not with them. And St. Thomas said, because he was part of the Sadducees who did not believe in the resurrection like the Pharisees, he said, unless I see with my own eyes, I will not believe. And then we see Christ. And then we see that Christ appeared to them 8 days later and showed them, and when he approached St. Thomas, when he was with them, he said, here, touch, do you now believe? And then he believed. And he said, you have believed because you have seen. Blessed are they who have believed without seeing. So Jesus Christ is risen. My fellow travelers, let us now believe that Christ has risen.